So I wanted to talk about peppers today. Most of my peppers are on the allotment and we'll go and look at those in a few minutes, but I've got a few in these containers down here, and I started these peppers back in let me just see, back in December. Let me just get the right date. Yeah, so the 12th of December, under grow lights, inside the house. You know, peppers need it nice and warm. Ideally, I think above 13 to 15 degrees centigrade for fruit set, but just for healthy peppers, above about 11 degrees centigrade. So, you know, both of those are easy to achieve in a house, and grow lights are, you know, cheap and easy to run in a house if you've got space for them. And I grew Akron, which are the red ones, and Anaheim, which are the chili peppers. And I think we've picked all the chili peppers. Oh no, we've still got a few of them here. You can't see them, sort of hidden in the foliage. And Bright Star, which are the orange ones, and Sweet Lemon Dream, which are the little yellow ones, of which I haven't got any in here at the moment, but I've got lots on the allotment. I'll show you those in a minute. And Long Yellow Ringo. So these are the Long Yellow Ringo here. So those are the different varieties. I wanted lots of colour, you know, as much colour as I could get, and it's really nice to have all that colour now in the greenhouse. So I did 2 batches. And as I say, this is the first batch, and I've learnt quite a lot because it's the first year for me growing in a heated greenhouse, and I kept this greenhouse above about 10 degrees. You know, my thermometer control, or thermostatically controlled heater, is not so great, so it does kind of vary a little bit, but it's kind of around 10 degrees centigrade at night from when I planted these out, which was the 2nd of April. So basically all the way through April, and to some extent through May, although it was a pretty warm May. I kept this greenhouse heated. I actually funded the heating of the greenhouse from the harvest of these tomatoes, which have been harvesting for 10 weeks. So that has actually given us like a huge financial fund to pay for heating the peppers. But I made a mistake, and the mistake I made was not leaving them in the house under grow lights for a few more weeks. What I should have done was keep them in the house just until we got the first fruit set, so the first sort of 4 or 5 fruits set, and then I could have brought them in here, and then they would have grown quite happily, and we would have got really nice early ripe fruits. As it is, I brought them in and kept them at 10 degrees before fruit set. And 10 degrees isn't quite enough for fruit to set. So we got lots of nice green growth, but we didn't get very much early fruit. And so it took a while for the fruit to set. You know, it was about 3 or 4 weeks later or something like that when we actually got nighttime temperatures warm enough in May. And now, it's only now that we're just about ready to harvest these as our first fruits. So, and now is the 26th of July, so not particularly early really, because of that kind of mistake on my part. So I might try just doing that next year, keeping them in the house just a little bit longer, get the first few fruits set, then bring them in here. I have to bring them in here at that point because I just don't have space in the house. But yeah, it wouldn't have been that difficult to get them just, you know, 2 or 3 weeks earlier, probably, something like that. And, you know, we love peppers, so earlier the better for us. Right, so what else can I say about it, really? That is pretty much it. I just fed them with tomato food, kept them moist but not overly wet. That has been easy, really. It hasn't taken much watering, really. Every 2 or 3 days or something like that, I give them a bit of water. Haven't had any pest issues, really, because I tend to keep the doors open during the day, so there's lots of predators coming through, and you know, lots of ventilation and things like that that tend to keep the pest pressure down. and plants look not that healthy. You know, so I kind of neglected them a little bit because, you know, I was growing these plants for early fruits. I wasn't getting early fruits, so yeah, I didn't pay much attention to them. Now I've got these early fruits, I'm sort of paying a bit more attention to them, but I put much more attention into the ones on the allotment. So this is a very small number of peppers here. Got a lot more on the allotment, so let's go take a look at those. So I'm on the allotment now, and these are the peppers that were sown early February, so a full 2 months after the ones in the polytunnel. And these also went out into the polytunnel not long after the early ones, and so they also set fruit late. These really had an advantage from that late fruit set because the plants were nice, strong and compact, and not exhausted by trying to grow fruit when they didn't really have enough leaf to grow fruit and there wasn't enough energy in the sun to grow fruit. And as a result, when they did eventually set fruit, the plants were really nice and strong, they were in the ground, and so the fruits are huge. I've never grown such lovely peppers. Now there's not a huge number of fruits on them because after they set fruit, which was in sort of early May probably, in that little hot spot that we had, then we had a really cold spot, and as a result of that, not many of them set fruit, but in that window they did really well. And so I'm kind of anticipating that in a normal year they would obviously have set and loads more fruit. I mean, there is new fruit coming, plenty of it, but that'll be probably for a much later harvest in September probably. So I'm expecting we'll have a fantastic harvest all through August, and then a moderate harvest in sort of September and early October. I've done the peppers different this year. I'm always evolving and improving, and this year I've grown them all in halos. I've sunk the halos underneath this layer of strulch. Now strulch is, you know, it's great for retaining water. In fact, if I just dig down now and take a quick look at it, yeah, it's still, even though this has not been watered since these were planted out in May, it's still damp underneath this layer of strulch, which is absolutely incredible. And I've just been watering to the outer rim of the halo, and I've been feeding in the inner ring of the halo. So I think I've been watering these once or twice a week, depending on how sunny it is. So most of the time it's only been once a week, but occasionally we've had a sunny spell and I've watered twice a week then. And one of those waters is a feed. So yeah, I mean, when you look at the difference in the dates, as I said, two whole months difference in date, and these are probably only 2 or 3 weeks behind the early ones. So there really is no point growing early ones unless you get the fruit set early, and you get the heat right and the light right in early growing conditions, so that you get 2 or 3 weeks of early harvest. But if you're not really bothered about that early harvest, sow in February, and don't keep them too warm so that you don't set fruit too early. And that's sort of my current advice. We'll see how it all pans out next year. Anyway, my name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.